Hi guys, real life Peter Griffin here. I've been watching this hilarious podcast on YouTube called the Ego's Last Stand. If you love stand-up comedy, you will love what Josh and Brandy are doing. Something funny. I'm the real life Peter Griffin, and you're watching the Ego's Last Stand.
When I come around, got the whole thing wobbling.
And we're back for another episode of the Ego's Last Stand. I'm Josh Sardam, your host, and we are here with the Quarantine Chronicles. Yes, we are all stuck at home, and I have been reaching out to my fellow comedians and club owners and newspaper writers and radio personalities just to check on all my friends and buddies around the globe to make sure everybody's doing okay. And today we have the owner of Wiley's Comedy Joint and fellow podcaster, Don Smith, with us. Don, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing good, man. How about yourself?
Man, I tell you what, I've been having a blast talking with everybody. It's so good to see everybody's faces during this whole thing. How you been holding up?
I've been surviving. I'm essential personnel, not with the club, but with the job I have that actually pays me money. So, so I get to keep going to work, but they shut down the radio studios, so I can't go in and do the live show anymore. So I've been doing the same thing, recording at home and trying to keep it going. I've actually started dropping extra episodes because I've been working with a publicist that's been getting me all kinds of guests for the show. So I've been about as busy during quarantine as I have been before quarantine. So
yeah,
just got to keep moving, I think.
It's kind of funny how that works out that way, isn't it? I mean, I was up to my neck in work before all this happened, and I don't know if it's just my personality or that I'm a magnet for it, or just that I have to be able to keep moving doing things. But I literally been doing 2 shows a night for about a week now, and I've got 2 more weeks. The schedule's already full of people that are just wanting to come out and talk, and because we're all bored. We haven't got nothing else to do.
That's true. That's true. I recorded 2 episodes of my show this morning. So, and then now I'm on here tonight, and I've got another episode recording tomorrow morning. So, yeah, the life radio show keeps moving. So we're just going to keep cranking out episodes.
And that is the life radio show, right?
Yes. Yes. We can be found all kinds of places. I have the very outdated thelife1069.com as I'm getting text messages now from people. It's like every time I go to do something on my phone to record one of these, I get calls and text messages like, leave me alone. It's 5 minutes. That's just 5 minutes of peace. That's
Remember I told you I had a funny story that happened in the last show. I'm recording with comedian Rob Wilfong out of, he's in Northern Kentucky. I'm sure you've met Rob before.
Yeah, he's been on my show a couple times.
He's fantastic. Love him to death. He's goofy as hell. And we had just got done talking about owning cats. And for what it was like, my cat was like, oh, it's my turn. My cat starts yakking on the rug while we're recording. And literally all you hear is, bleh, bleh, and I'm like, really? Right now?
Now, you talked about when somebody's talking, the camera goes back to you. Right. Was it loud enough that the camera stayed on you while your cat was yakking?
I haven't looked at it yet, but I bet it was.
Perfect.
Right?
You should have panned down to actually show the cat yakking on the carpet. If my dog comes in here and craps, I'm moving the camera. That's
right. You're going to see it. Oh, good stuff, man. So have you touched base with everybody from the club? Talk to everybody?
Yeah, here and there I reach out to them just to make sure they're all doing okay. Because, I mean, of course, we can't be open, so everything had to shut down. It's devastating for a small business to go months without revenue.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, comedy clubs are kind of most of the smaller ones are kind of week to week anyway, so it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a struggle when we come back.
I'm worried about the smaller clubs because unless that's just something that they blow money on because they don't, that's not like how they keep their money. But I mean those clubs they're little and that's their only source of income. I mean, I feel so bad for them because that's horrible. So I was talking with Greg Morton last night, and of course, I'm I was on the track of saying, oh man, are we going to be able to, as an entertainment portion, are we going to be recover as comedians? And he said, you know what? He goes, I bet when this thing is finally over, people are going to be dying to get out to go see a live show. He goes, I think you're going to be surprised how packed the places are going to be.
I hope so, because we need it. we need it just to get out of. I mean, any live venue is going to need it after this.
Absolutely, and I absolutely love Wiley's. I was just there recently. We were there in January, right? Me and Rich Reagans.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love that club. It's a good historic place. It's got it's funny. I go in there and you got that picture of Tom Rhodes on the wall, and Tom and I are friends, and of course, I took a picture of it and sent it to him, and he just belly laughed. He goes, "Where did you find that?" And I said, "Wiley's." And he goes, "Oh, okay." Which is awesome.
It's a special place. Local comics, I mean, that's their hangout, and that just we love our comics, and we just hope we get to keep going and keep bringing them in.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And I'm praying that all works out, because that place is awesome. And I'm actually gonna have Tom on one of these things here, so we'll end up talking about it. But yeah, it's a great place, man, and the room is just, I love that room. There's something about it. It must be the acoustics.
It's a good feeling on the stage in there, because I've been on a number of others, and that's as a comic we all have.
Yeah,
but yeah, there's definitely something special about the place.
I mean, and Richie and I didn't get to have the back curtain open, but I mean, the room has just such a great feel to it. And you're raised up high, which is kind of nice. I like that. I don't like when you almost feel like you're looking up at people. I like that raised up high feeling, but the room just gets electric when you get that place laughing. I got 2 really good videos from my time there, just because it was just such a great time.
Oh yeah.
And people were great around the area as well. When we went out, we were getting people to come out the next day. We were out there trying to get people to come out, that kind of thing. And people were just so nice. Just such a good area.
Yeah, and this past year has been through a lot too. It's been through a lot of things, especially down that Oregon district. Just way too many things that happened down in the Dayton area with the tornadoes and the shooting and just so many things. And it's been really special for me to be able to see all that and to see that community and how it reacts to these things. And I don't see any problem getting right back into the swing of things down there. It's just once we're able to recover financially.
Right.
But yeah, that area, Dayton, the Oregon district, it's been phenomenal with all this stuff. Yeah, man. And you've how long you owned the Wiley's now? Going on 3 years. And but you've been involved with the place so longer than that, though, right? Well, I've been a stand-up for about 6 years now, and for about a year before I became owner of the club, I was actually banned from there. It wasn't it wasn't anything I really did. It was just there was a bit of a dispute, and I threw my support in a direction that the previous owners didn't care for. Can we hear the story, or? No. There are too many other comics involved. That's great. And I still try to maintain a decent relationship with the previous owners, even though they did not allow me to perform there for a while. But it wasn't anything personal. It was more I was part of a blanket ban of several comedians in that. Gotcha. Can't ban me now. No, that ain't happening. You got the keys to the door, so. Exactly. Yep. Tell me a story, because we all have stories from the club when you've got that disruptive individual. Do you have a particular story you can think of that happened where you've got somebody that you ended up having to ask to leave, and some fun resulted from it? never fun resulted from it.
No,
We've been fortunate. There haven't been a whole lot of issues when I was there that had to be dealt with like that. I think there's really only been one group that I've asked to leave, and they were, I mean, there were one or two of them that were too drunk and just would not shut up. And so all four of them, and the other two were kind of understanding, just trying to get their two highly inebriated friends out the door. And that one wasn't all that interesting. One of the worst ones is just a guy showed up and his ex-girlfriend was in there on a date with somebody else, and we had to get them out.
yeah,
Of course, that started a whole thing, and I'm waiting outside for the cops to get there, and it just,
not fun, right?
No, it's not a good time.
Yeah, we've had some crazy stuff at Comedy Off Broadway. Because I'm a bouncer there when I'm not running around on the road, and we had this. It was God, who was in town? I want to say it's Burt Crusher was in town, and he's up on the stage. Of course, it's a packed house, and the stage center off here, and then back in the right hand corner of the back of the room is where the sound booth is. Well, I was hanging out up there, and in the front, right directly in front of me, and all the way up near the front, I can hear this woman talking to her friend. So I'm like, all right, well, I let it go for about 30 seconds to a minute. I'm like, nah, I got to squash this. I'm watching everybody around them keep turning around and looking at her, and it's like, all right, I got to go say something. So I walked over. I said, ma'am, I'm sorry. I said, if you guys want to have a conversation, can you do it out in the lobby? This is a live show, and you can't talk this loud. And she goes, what the fuck did you just say to me? And I was like, oh, here we go. I said, ma'am, you're being too loud. You have to keep it down. She goes, are you fucking serious? I go, again, please lower your voice. I need you to lower your voice, or just go out in the lobby if you want to have a conversation. It's fine. She goes, this is fucking bullshit. And she turns around to her friend. So I was like, all right, whatever. So I went back to the booth. They're not being noisy anymore. Well, a couple minutes later, they get up and they walk outside. I'm like, okay, good. They're going to go talk in the lobby. Problem solved. All right, so the show's going on. It's like 5 minutes before it ended, and the owner, Jordan, said, hey, come talk to me for a second. So I went out in the lobby, and he said, hey, go next door and find out if we could do the meet and greet over there, because it was the first show of the night, and we wanted to make sure that we'd have, so you can do that switch out, so the new crowd coming in doesn't interrupt the crowd that's trying to leave, that kind of thing. So I walk outside to go next door to the Lexington Green Mall where Joe Beth is. And there's that chick, her and her friend, they're smoking. And I'm like, shit. So I keep walking, and I hear, can I ask you a question? I'm like, here it comes. She goes, what the fuck did I do wrong? And I said, well, you were being too loud. She goes, I paid X amount of dollars to be in there. I said, so did the other 200 people, ma'am. They didn't come here to hear you.
Right.
Well, that's just some bullshit. I said, no, actually, they came here to see Bert, not you. And I turned around and I walked, right? I'm walking away, and I hear her going, what a fucking asshole. And I'm like, whatever. She's out here making noise, not in there, so I'm fine. So I go and check it out. I come back, and I'm getting ready to go back into to go see Jordan and tell him about next door when they come walking back in to go back to the showroom. And as the lady's passing me, she goes, prick. It goes inside. I'm like, there's like 5 minutes left this show. I'm not even going to play with this at this point. I'm like, whatever. So I go upstairs, I tell Jordan, and then he goes, were there any issues? And so I told him the story about this chick, right? And he's laughing about it. He's like, okay. He goes, well, hey, tell everybody else they can be done. You guys can go. And I was like, okay, cool. So I'm leaving. As I'm leaving his office, I get right to the door. I'm walking out, and I hear behind me him go, prick.
See, I'm very fortunate there, and the staff I have is they have my back. The staff there definitely has my back, because there was one case in particular where there were a bunch of people leaving early from one of the shows, and I was at the door making sure they'd paid their tab already, and of course that got a bunch of stuff started. Here come two of my wait staff come over there and basically get in between me and the guys, the kids that are getting ready to start trouble. It's like, wait a minute, I got this, it's okay. But no, I love the staff there. They are phenomenal. Just wonderful to have on board, and I miss them. It's been about a month or so, month and a half since I've been able to be there with them, and I miss the staff, that's for sure.
Yeah, they were great. They treated us like gold, and they're just really, really nice. Very, very nice. What's your bartender's name again?
Heather?
The older lady, is that her name?
Heather, yeah.
Yeah, she was a sweetheart to us. Took good care of us. The wait staff, they cracked me up. They're just so funny. But yeah,
they're really, really wonderful. I don't know if I would have survived there as long as I have without them.
Yeah,
but I know the club wouldn't have.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, so tell me about the your podcast, the Life Radio Show, because you
the Life. That's like I said. I started performing comedy about 6 years ago. The thing is, I went back to college late. I was finishing up my bachelor's degree, and I didn't have time to do a lot of shows, to get to a lot of comedy shows or to do a lot of mics or anything. So I had just started making connections with the local comedy scene. So in order to keep those connections, I started a radio show at the college, since they had a station there. And that was my way to keep in contact with the local comedy scene. And now it's 5.5 years later, and I still have the radio show. It still does broadcast over WWSU. It just, right now I can't get in the studio to do the live show, but I still upload all of my recorded shows onto broadcast as well. And it started out bringing comedians in, and I kind of got tied in with the local film scene here. I've got a lot of films out right now that I'm a part of. We're getting ready to shoot another one beginning of May with a group that I work with from time to time, and we have a lot of fun with that. I bring filmmakers in, a lot of local musicians that I'm friends with. I play their music on the radio. I get them in the show from time to time. We just have fun, man. It's a couple hours a week that I just get to unwind and act like an idiot. That's one of the things I love about doing the live show is I can go in there in just the worst possible mood, because I go in after work. It's, I work all day and then I go to do this show on Tuesday nights, and I can just be in the foulest mood possible, but I'm on the radio for 2 minutes and I'm having a blast. I'm laughing my ass off. It's just it is such a fun time, and I hope that energy gets through to listeners. But even if it doesn't, I'm going to keep doing it, because I personally love going in there and just cutting up with a bunch of comics and actors and just anybody in entertainment that wants to come on there. And lately I've been working with a publicist that's been getting me a lot of his clients on my show. Well, I said I recorded 2 episodes this morning. I recorded one with Sean. Cannot think of his last name, but he's a longtime character on General Hospital and Young and the Restless, Bold and the Beautiful. He was on Karate Kid. He was one of the bad guys in Karate Kid 3. Kaysen? I can't think of his name, and that's good. That's just terrible to do. My notes from the show are out there, so I can't.
It's fine.
And I am not a soap opera fan, so I don't know his name. But it's a lot of fun interviewing him. I talked. Larry Hankin was a fantastic interview. He's been in everything, and so much fun watching TV shows and running into one of these guys that I interviewed before, like Larry. I was watching the old Amazon Women on the Moon, if you ever saw that old movie. I'm watching that, and I completely forgot Larry Hankin was in it. And as I'm watching, it's like, I just talked to him. Right. So it's fun stuff like that, getting some of these guys that I normally wouldn't be able to have contact with, and sometime in June, I'm going to schedule Robert Wall, who played Arliss,
nice,
and has been in just about everything else. Yep. I have to get a hold of Richard Karn again, because I had him scheduled and we had to postpone with all the COVID-19 crap. But
sure,
definitely going to try to get him back in. And it's been, I still keep a lot of the local people on the show, because that's what made the show. But it's fun every now and then to get some of these bigger named actors on.
Absolutely.
Just get to know some of them a little bit better, because if nothing else, the podcast is a great way to network.
Yes.
and just reach out to people you normally wouldn't and get to talk to them for a little while. So.
Absolutely. This podcast has been absolutely invaluable to me, mainly because of the fact that I get to talk to all kinds of people I would never get a chance to talk to.
Right.
It's based out of comedy off Broadway, and all the headliners that come in, I mean, they get an opportunity to be on there. I mean, I'd say about 80% agree to be on, but you got the douchebags. Anthony just like, but he's not a douchebag. I just like saying that. But
Oh yeah,
you would appreciate it. But it's nice because you get to see a different side of them, and I never do your interviews. They're not like the typical interview. Mine are the same way. It's like I don't do the. So when did you start comedy? I don't do that with these guys, and they really appreciate it because normally when they
right. The only time I'll do that is if we totally run out of things to talk about. if they're really quiet, it's like, okay, so
right.
What made you do this? Because you clearly don't like talking to people.
Right. God, is that the worst? That is the worst.
Oh, it is. It's a tough interview when they don't want to talk, and you're just trying to pull information out of them, and it's frustrating. But it does happen.
Because I had this guy he's a comedian. He's also a mime. I just gave away who it was. But he had him on the show. Clearly, just either he didn't like being interviewed or whatever. But it was like I asked him a question. He was just like, "Well, I just got up. I just got out of traffic."
Maybe he thought you were interviewing him as a mime.
Right. I don't know, but it was like, my partner Brady ended up looking at him and saying, "Boy, aren't you just a ray of sunshine?"
I've had my share of those.
It's like, dude, you're coming on a place where we're supposed to be talking to each other, and I love when I get on there. Like probably like two of my favorite interviews. One was with Vic Henley. God rest his soul. We just lost Vic. But he talks and he talks and he talks, and it's wonderful because he has like so much information, and you just let him go. What's his face? Chad Daniels is like that. Todd McComas, great interviews because they talk, and I love that.
Oh yeah, I've had some interviews where I'll be talking to them, and then we'll go to break because of course we're doing the live show, and I still have to go to breaks for commercials and stuff. And we'll go to break, and I'm like, "Am I talking too much?" It's like, "You are fantastic. Don't stop." The less I have to say, the better show this is going to be.
Totally agree. I mean, you like to think that your listeners want to hear you speak, but I mean, I know for a fact with me personally, it's like, I'm a nobody. The people I'm interviewing, they're somebody, so it's like they're tuning in to hear these people talk and not me.
I feel like somebody now, and I appreciate that.
You never are, man. Of course you're somebody. So let me ask you a question. So you said you started doing comedy 6 years ago. So did you start late in life?
Just 6 years ago, yeah.
Was that late in life for you? Or?
I did. Yeah, that's late in life for me. So I 6 years ago would have made me 37. So yeah, I started a lot of things late in life. But how I started comedy is originally I started theater. Started acting in theater almost 20 years ago now, and I loved being on stage. I loved acting. I loved theater. The problem is it's so damn time consuming.
Yeah.
And because it's a huge commitment. You're talking at least at minimum 2.5, 3 months out of your life, just minimum for rehearsals. And you're there almost every night of the week for rehearsals.
Yeah.
And then of course the final couple of weeks you live there. And it's hard to do when you have a life outside of that. And I was, like I said, I went back and finished my bachelor's degree. I went and worked. I was working in different films. I was working as a just all these things going on. I had no time for theater. So I still had the itch to get up on stage. So I thought, okay, this might be a possible way to get on stage without having all the rehearsals. And I didn't know that comedy was that much more time consuming. But no, it is and it isn't, because there's a lot of work that goes into it. But it's I have the stupid thoughts in my head all the time, so it's just a matter of writing them down and then bombing on stage with them time and time again. Every now and then I'll have a good show. Most times, like, no, that joke still doesn't work. No, that's kind of how I got started. And the final push was, like I said, I was finishing up my bachelor's degree, and there was a class that was I was working on an English degree for whatever stupid ass reason. I guess it was just something I wanted to finish because I started it a long time ago.
Sure.
Well, there was an English class that was labeled as comedy writing. And I thought, okay, that's cool. Well, I get in there. It's a basics of stand-up comedy class. It's not really comedy writing. It's an actual class. So it's like, okay, I've wanted to do this anyway. Might as well stick it out. And the final exam was actually a 4-minute set at the Dayton Funny Bone. So I thought, okay, this is how I start.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, and it was, again, one of those addicting things that I just had to keep going. So.
Yeah.
And I kept going through my early bombs, because my first 2 shows went really well, and then my 3rd show was just a complete disaster because I got cocky. I thought, I got this, and I went into an open mic on a Tuesday night at a bar called the Chapter, and the Chapter Bar in Fairborn, Ohio, and that was that mic is no longer there. God rest its soul, but because that was one that if you weren't prepared for it, it was going to end your career. Because if I hadn't had shows booked after that one already, I might have stopped. It was that bad of a show. But I went back and I performed it. I think 4 more times. I did the Chapter Bar open mic 4 more times. So I was like, I'll be damned if you're going to defeat me. And it did anyway. But no, the last set I did there was actually a decent set for that bar. So yeah, they knocked me on my ass 4 times. That last one I got them somewhat.
That's good, man. Man, I hate
totally worth it.
I absolutely hate mics like that. The ones that you show up and it's nothing but comics in the room, and you know none of them are going to be listening to you.
This wasn't nothing but comics. But it was all regulars at the bar on a Tuesday night that nobody bothered to tell them, even though they were regulars. Nobody bothered to tell them there was a comedy show that had been going on there for the last 5 years. They still didn't remember. But through my whole set, I don't remember a single laugh. What I remember is there was one drunk old lady at the bar that just in the middle of my set, I just heard, "My God, this is fucking awful." So that was... That makes you feel good right there.
Oh yeah. I tell you, you get good with crowd work when you play those places, though. I mean, you end up getting a lot of...
Yeah, you have no choice. And that, like you said, that was my 3rd set. There was no possibility of crowd work. It was all I could do to finish my set and get off. But I did it. I stuck it out. It's like, I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to keep doing this.
Well, a great friend once told me that you have to have 1,000 deaths on stage before you get any good. You know, so it's one of those things you just got to keep hitting at it. And I guess
I still, the stage still owes me several more deaths. I have not made it that far yet.
You know, I've done well over 1,000. I know I have, but I don't even. I know I still have more deaths to go. It just happens.
Oh.
One of those inevitable things. You can't ever think that you're going to go up on stage. Rich and I were out in Virginia, and like the crowd that was so weird. Like they were fire for the first 5 minutes, and it's like they just got bored. You know, it was just like you had to. They would just kind of not pay attention anymore. And it's a comedy club. It wasn't a bar. It's a comedy club, and they're there to see comedy. But they were just kind of like, "This is awesome, amazing." 5 minutes, and then they're just like,
"Next, you no longer amuse me."
Right. You know, and so I went up there, and I'm hitting them as hard as I can, and I got stage, and Rich goes, "What do you think?" And I said, "I think they're just bored. I tried." He goes, "No, you did." He goes, "I thought you did great." He goes, "Well, I got this." Rich goes on stage. 5 minutes, he's fire. He's killing it. After that, it just lulled out. He gets off the stage. He goes, I don't know.
So that's a crowd that would have been good in an open mic where everybody's just doing 5 minutes.
Right.
They would have been perfect there. Just,
yeah,
they didn't have the attention span for anything longer.
It was just so bizarre. And then the next night, it was like the exact opposite. Like the crowd, they were engaged for the first couple of minutes. They weren't really laughing that hard, but like after that, they just like it was fire for the rest of your set. So it was like the exact opposite. And it just I got off the stage and I looked at Rich. Rich goes, "You killed it." I go, felt better than last night. He got on stage. Of course, he killed it. Richie. Funny.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing how different one night can be from the next, and you think you're delivering the same thing the same way, and just totally different response. That's what I love about live performance in general is you never know what the hell's going to happen.
Yeah, it's a different fight every night.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So people that you've had come through your club, who's been your like the favorite time you've had up there?
As far as me performing with them, or
either one.
Just in general, there have been so many that I love that come through there. I mean, Greg Hahn is always. I mean, just that guy is just a crazy ass ball of energy. I absolutely love watching him perform.
Captain K.
I mean, the first time I ever saw him, I think I had been involved at the club for like maybe 3 weeks the first time he was there.
Yeah. And
I'd never seen him on stage before. I'd heard him on Bob and Tom, never seen him live, and holy crap, I was not prepared for that. But yeah, that guy is an animal. And there are some like that are just so much fun on stage. And I don't know that I have a favorite that's come through, and a lot of times I get so busy out there I don't really have time to go in and watch. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, and of course Sunday night shows I usually don't go in there. That's our open mic. So, well, the bad thing is I love our open mics, but I can't go in there because I have too many new comics that have to hit me up for suggestions later. And when you start getting messages at like 12 o'clock on a Sunday night, you have to be up at work at like 5:30 the next morning, and you start getting messages from first-time comics saying, "What'd you think of my set?" That's when you got to say, "Okay, I'm just not watching any of them anymore."
Right. No, I mean that totally makes sense. I saying to people, like honestly, like when your set is good. I mean, you don't ever have to ask. If you have to ask, then there's something wrong with your set. You absolutely, when you go up there and you have fire, it's fire. I mean, especially if you're being honest with yourself. I mean, but there are a lot.
I have very few sets that I think are fire. I've come off had people, and the bad thing is especially if I'm performing at Wiley's. I mean, how much of what somebody how great of a job can I be told I'm doing without thinking it's just somebody pandering because I'm a club owner? That's tough for me. There are a few comics that I know are honest with me, and those are the ones I trust. They come up and tell me I sucked, I'm going to believe it because I probably did. If they come up and tell, because they will. If you screw something up, they'll let me know. That's good.
Yeah.
I need that. I don't need a bunch of people just telling me, "Oh, you're great," and then I think I'm great, and I go bomb 6 times with the same shitty joke because somebody told me it worked when it didn't. I think being a club owner, it does make it a little harder to get honest feedback.
Sure. Absolutely. Do
there are a couple that I know if they tell me I had a good set, I can believe them.
Do you ever get out to other clubs?
Last year I did quite a bit. I'm not anywhere near a headliner or a feature yet. I love hosting actually, but I don't get out to a whole lot. I've gone over and done a couple of different mics at some of them. I've been over to Jokers in Indianapolis a few times last year.
Yeah.
Tried to get involved with the World Series of Comedy, but they disqualified me because I own a club, which kind of sucked.
You hosted last year, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah.
I remember seeing one of the satellites was up there.
Yeah. Which I wasn't in that satellite. I didn't even register for that satellite because of that. But they still wouldn't let me. Wouldn't let me do any of the other ones. I got to do the one out in St. Charles at the Zanies in St. Charles, Illinois. It was the only one I got to perform in with them before they said, we can't let you do anymore.
That's weird. Why?
I don't know. That's just one of those weird things. As a club owner and a comic, it's a lot harder to get into festivals as a comic.
Well,
because I've had a handful of festivals that I've applied for that said, well, we'd like you to come as industry.
Yeah.
But we can't let you. It's like, okay, well, what about giving me back my application fee? You're keeping that. You just
if we actually end up having my festival this year, you're more than welcome. Because you already said you were going to come down as industry, but if you want to come actually be involved, you're more than welcome. I don't care. I don't think that being a club owner doesn't have anything to do with the contest. I mean, what?
I wouldn't think so. I don't know, but I guess I don't know.
You're
just one of those things, I guess.
You're coming as industry to say, hey, maybe I'm going to scout some people for the club up here, but that has nothing to do with you actually being a comic. I mean, I think the two things can be separated personally.
Yeah, me too.
So.
Me too. I guess there are some people who can see like, well, he only got into the festival because he's industry. So I guess there's some of those pouty little bitches that might think that. I don't know. Yeah,
but I know someone with two thumbs who doesn't give a fuck about them. This guy, okay.
And I like that.
I got Jenny Stencil that's gonna come on next Monday. She owns the Idiot Box in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And, I'll ask her how she feels because she runs the North Carolina Comedy Festival. I'll ask her how she feels about that.
Okay.
Because I wanted to be a part of the North Carolina Festival as well. I'm going in as industry because I run a festival. So she's having me come in as one of the industry people. But I also want to work at the Idiot Box. I mean, I'm going to ask her how she feels about that. I got what's her face, Susan Thompson coming in from Laugh Lines. That's in I think it's Calgary, Alberta, Canada. She's going to be on the show. We're going to figure that out tomorrow. She's going to call me tomorrow and we're going to figure that out. So I'm going to ask her how she feels about that. I'll get more answers going for us about that. Because that's BS. It doesn't have anything to do with just because you're a club owner. That doesn't mean anything. You're also a comic. I mean.
Yeah, well, yeah, I hope. But no, I don't know. I'm hoping I'm still industry. After all this is done, I'm hoping I get to still be industry after all this COVID-19 crap shut us down. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in coming down to do your festival if you have me.
100%, man. 100%. Consider that done. That's easy. If people want to check out your podcast, they can go to Podbean and probably any other service out there.
Yeah, my main feed is on Podbean, so it's got like all 360 some episodes up there. I've actually started because a lot of the other feeds, like I think iTunes only holds so many, and so I started re-releasing for Throwback Thursday. I've started re-releasing old episodes, starting from one. Just every week, I'm going to be going in order and re-releasing all my old episodes. So, and some of those are terrible. Because this 3.5 years ago, and I didn't even know what the hell I was doing with the podcast. This past week, I just released the first ever episode, the resurrection episode, because it's the life. So we came back to life because, long story, I actually stopped doing the show for about 2 months because I had kind of a falling out with a previous co-host I had. So I thought I'm just going to stop the show and then I'm going to come back. It's just going to be me. I'll have guest co-hosts, but no co-hosts. So that's what I did. So we had a resurrection episode to bring us back from the dead because we were the life. And that just re-released this past Thursday. So it was fun, but man, that was when I learned that I'm just going to do a live episode, record it as live and leave it out there. Because I started editing a 2-hour show. And I'm like 8 hours into editing. I didn't even have 5 minutes edited yet. And it's like, you know what? The hell with this. This going out as is. Yeah. But no, my main feed's on Podbean. I'm on iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. I'm part of the J-Zone Modcast podcast network out in California. I'm part of the SJ Network podcast network. I'm trying to get involved with Memphis Radio Memphis. I'm trying to get involved with them to get out through those guys. A couple other networks that I'm working with right now, trying to get it out as much as I can, spread throughout the country. And it's some of it's working, some of it isn't. But you can find me. I have thelife1069.com is a very outdated website, but the links to the show are still good. But it still says, I think the last post I put on that website says, so I bought a comedy club. So that tells you how old that thing is. But the links to the show are still good. You can follow me on Twitter at Don Smith Comedy. I'm on Instagram at the Life1069. On Facebook, there's the Don Smith Comedy and the Life 1069 both. Also, Wiley's Comedy Club, Wiley's Dayton, and I think Wiley's Dayton on Instagram, Twitter, and on Facebook. So
Nice.
all over the place out there. And hopefully we get to start populating Wiley's website, wileyscomedy.com, with our upcoming shows here soon, because right now it's very sad to look at the website and see no upcoming shows. So hopefully we get to populate that very soon.
Man, me too. From your lips to God's ears. And I'll make sure that I put up all those on the screen so people can see them. And if you're just
Awesome.
listening to this, just rewind and listen again so you can get exactly what he said.
Very good.
But Don, I really appreciate you being on the show, man. Any final thoughts?
When we emerge from this and everybody starts crawling out of their houses, get out and see some live shows. Whether it's stand-up, theater, musicians, get out and appreciate the live performances and the things that we can't do right now. We need an enhanced appreciation for it when we're able to get back out there. And live comedy is the shit.
I couldn't have said it better myself. That's 100% true. I definitely agree with you. All right, man. Well, it's been fantastic.
Oh, yeah. I appreciate you having me.
Nah, anytime, man. We got to do this again. For Don Smith, I'm Josh Sardam. We'll catch you guys next time.
Hey guys, I hope you liked the video, and if you liked the show, make sure you throw a like down there somewhere. There should be a like, and there's a subscribe button over here.
And hit the bell.
Yeah, ring the bell, and check us out, man. Stay in touch with us. We're always putting out videos every week, and it should be a lot of fun, right?
Write us a letter.
Right as rain. Right as the mail. Thanks, guys. Yeah, that should work.